This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Is my voice audible, guys? Okay. So in last session, we have discussed about functional component, right? And we discussed about props. So on very high level, right now, we know what is React. We know what are React elements. We know what are JSX elements. We know how to create functional component. We know how to create what are props. So on very high level, these are the concepts that we know in React right now. So now in today's session, what I want to do, using all these concepts, I want to create one home page. I want to create one simple home page for my application. So in this home page, like this, I want to create one home page. Now in this home page, I want one nav bar. I want to create one nav bar. So here I want to create one nav bar. In my home page, I want to create one footer section. I want to create one footer section. And then I want to create here one side. I want to create here one sidebar. And in this sidebar, here I want to show some links. Here I want to show some links like this. And here I want to display some UI. Here I want to display some UI. So like this, one small and simple home page I want to create. So how to develop one home page, how to create a static home page using React. That is what we are going to understand in today's session. Okay, so completely coding part will be there in today's session. Slowly, step by step, we will learn the things. So in today's session, the first step what we are going to do to create our home page, we will create one home.html file. So create home.html file. This is the first step. So for that, I will go to my VS Code. Here I will create one file, something called home.html. Now, second step, what we want to do here, second step is create React template. Create React.js template. Now, how to create React.js template? For that, whatever we have learned in previous session, same thing we will do. So I will start with doc type, add HTML tag. Here, let me add head section. Let me add body section. Let's take one div with ID root. Let's add one script tag. And to that script tag, let's assign type attribute with text/Babel. All this we have done in our previous session. Here, let's integrate React, React DOM, and Babel. So we will integrate React, we will integrate React DOM, we will integrate Babel. So let's integrate step by step. Let's go to our official website of React. Go to docs, go to CDN links, and now you can directly copy both the script tags. And come back here, you replace that with React and React DOM. So don't worry about cross origin. Right now, not required. So you can ignore that part. So we have integrated React, we have integrated React DOM. Next, we want to integrate here Babel. So for that, let's go to the Babel official site, babeljs.io. Click on setup, click on in the browser, scroll down, copy this script tag under the usage and paste here. Done. Our React template is ready now. Now, third step. Third step. Third step is create a nav bar. Create a nav bar. Okay. So right now what we have done, we have just created one HTML file. Like this, I have created one HTML file. Guys, give me a 1 minute. हाँ दे रहा हूँ పొల్యూషన్ కూడా ఉందా లేలే పాన్ కార్డ్ ఆధార్ కార్డ్ ఒరిజినల్ చేస్తారా జెరాక్స్ Yeah, guys, just give me a 5 minutes. I will be back. I have got some work. Yeah, hello everyone. I'm back. Yeah. So now we have created just one simple HTML file. Now inside this HTML file, I want to create one nav bar. I want to create one nav bar. So to create this nav bar, we will create one component. We will create one component. Inside that component, we will write all the JSX elements which is required to create this nav bar. Okay. So what I will do, I will go to my Visual Studio Code. Now inside this script tag, I will create one component. So how to create component? Function, your component name, open curly brace, close curly brace. Add return statement. And here I will add parenthesis. Inside that I will take one div. So right now I'm simply adding here simple content called navbar. And to this div, I will assign one ID as a navbar. Now to this navbar div, I want to add some CSS. So for that, I will create one separate CSS file, home.css. This CSS file I will link with my HTML file. And now inside this CSS file, I will select this div element using ID selector. So here I am selecting hash nav bar. And here simply I will write some CSS code. Like I will write here width, I will say 100%. Here height, I will add something like 80 pixel. Right now I'm just adding some background color, black. And the text color, I will change it to white. That's it. Now, this UI, this div I want to show on my screen. So for that, I will take the help of React DOM. So React DOM dot render. Here I will call this navbar function. Nothing but I am rendering my navbar component, and here simply I will add a comma and pass the DOM element of this div. So how to access document dot get element by ID of root. So if you see here what I have done, just I created one simple component called navbar. Inside that right now I have simple div, and that navbar component I am rendering here. And now if I save my file and load, you will see that navbar will be visible. But if you see on the top, on the left, on the right, you have some space. I want to remove that space. So that space is because of this body element. So by default, your body adds some margin to that. By default, your browser adds some margin to this body. That is the reason you got that space. So we will make that space remove. How? We will select body element and simply we will assign margin property 0. So by default, your browser assigns some margin to this body. Due to that margin property, we are getting this space. I want to remove this space. Now, how to remove this space? For that, simply we have to select body and we have to say margin 0. Now, if I go and refresh, that space is removed. Now see, one simple navbar is created. But in this navbar, I want to create some UI. Like here, I want to add one brand name. I want to show some links. I want to show one logout button. Some UI I want to create. So for this, what we will do, now let's focus on this navbar. Now this is our navbar. Now this navbar, I will divide into 3 sections. This navbar, I will divide into 3 sections. Like this section 1, section 2 and section 3. It means in this navbar, I want to create 3 columns like this. Column 1 column 2, column 3. How to create? For that, this nav bar we will make as a grid container. So this nav bar, we will make it as a grid container. If you make this nav bar as a grid container, then inside this grid container, we can create columns. In this grid container, we can create columns. So first, let's see how to make grid container. So for that, to this nav bar, nothing but to this particular div, we will assign one property called display grid. The moment you assign this property, this is called now grid container. And inside this, if you want to create column, we will use a property called grid template columns. Now I want my first column should be 40% width. Second column also I want 40%. Third column I want 20%. So 3 columns I am creating. Now inside every column, I will add one div element. Inside this, I will add one div element. Inside this, I will add one div element. Inside this, I will add one div element. How to add? Simply go to your HTML, remove this navbar and add that 3 divs here. So 1, 2, and 3. So here in this div, we will add one title. In this div, we will add some links. We will call it as a links. In this div, we will add some icons. Now let me select all these div in CSS. I will select here hash title and I will assign some background color. Like I will assign green. Let's select links. I will assign background color something like coral. I will select icons. Let's add a background color light, something like gray we will add. Now let's see how it looks. So if I refresh, 3 columns should be created. Now see, column 1, column 2, column 3. Column 3, column 2, column 1. Now in column 1, what I want to do? In this column 1, I want to add one heading. So I will add here one heading using h1 element. I will take h1 and simply I will add here something like dudes mart. I'm just adding here something like dudes mart. Now, if I go back here and if I refresh, I got here dudes smart. Now, by default, your browser adds some margin to h1 also. By default, your browser is going to add some margin to h1. So that margin, default margin, I want to remove. So what I will do here, simply I will add a comma h1, I will say. So that default margin for h1 will also remove. So if I refresh, I got my h1 on the top. Now I will increase the h1 size. So I will say that in my title, inside this title div, whatever h1 is there, that h1 font size, you increase to something like 42 pixel, I will say. So if I go back here and if I refresh, I got like this. Maybe I will try to make it 52 pixel. Now if I come back and refresh, I got like this. Now I want this text exactly in the center here I want. So if I want exactly in the center, here I will create one class. I will say flex center. I will create one CSS class called flex center. I'm just giving my custom name. Here I am adding some CSS property like I am making display flex, justify content center, align items center I am saying. Now this class I will assign to my title div. This is my title div, right? To this title div, I will assign one class called class called flex center. So in this case, what happens? This title will display exactly in the center of this green color div. Center means in horizontal direction also it will display in the center. In vertical direction also it will display in the center. Now see, in horizontal and in vertical, in both the direction it is displaying in center. If I want, I can decrease little bit font size. I can make it like 47 pixel. And if I refresh, I got like this. Now here in this coral div, I want 4 links. So if you want links, for that we can use here anchor element. So I will use here anchor element. Around 5 anchor elements I will use. So I will say here home. Then let's add here profile. Let's add here products. Let's add here something like contact us. And one more, we can add here something like admin. So now if I go back here and if I refresh, now see I got here 4 links: home, profile, products, contact, and admin. So now what we are going to do, here also we will add a class called flex center. The moment I add it as a flex center, now if I refresh, it will come exactly in the center. See, in horizontal direction also it is in the center. In vertical direction also it is in the center. So I am using flex concept here. Now between these anchor elements, I want to generate some space. So I will say that inside my links div, whatever anchor element is there, in between them, generate some space. Nothing but from margin right, you add 50 pixel space. So if I go and refresh, I got 50 pixel space. Now this underline I want to remove. So what I will do, I will say here text decoration none, means that underline will be removed now. I want to increase font size little bit. Font size I will increase to 18 pixel. So if I go back and refresh, I got like this. So here it is going outside right. So in that case, what we can do here, we can add flex wrap. So I got like this. So here what I will do, I will just remove one link because admin I don't require, 4 is fine. We will add like this. So we got home, we got profile, we got products, we got contact us. Now let's remove this background color. Let's remove this background color coral. Let's remove this background color green. So if I go back here and if I refresh, it looks like this. Now this text color we will change. So this anchor element text color we will change to white. We got like this. If you want this H1 color, we can change to some other. Here I will change to tomato color. It looks like this. So we got home, profile, products, contacts. Now here what I want to do, here I want to display some icons. Here I want to display some icons. Okay. So to display that icons, what we can do here, we can go to home.html. Here I want to display some icons. Now how to display icons? For that, we can go to one website called getbootstrap.com. Go to getbootstrap.com website. Click on here icons link. Now you will land on their icons page. So it's loading. Let it load. So we have landed on their icons page. Now go to down. Just scroll down. If you scroll down, you will find here one section called CDN. You will find one section called CDN. copy this link tag, copy this link tag and paste inside your header section. Paste your inside the header section. Now, the moment you do this, whatever icons this Bootstrap is providing, see so many icons it is providing, we can use all these icons. So here I will use one icon called wish list. I want one icon called wish list. So here we can search that icon. So I will search for hurt. Here I will get some icons. Yeah, I will take this icon. I will click on this icon. It will give you the code. So it's loading. Scroll down. Here you have that tag. Copy this and go back here and add inside this. Like this, I want one more icon. Just go back. Go to top. Here search for cart. If you search for cart, you will get like this icons. I will take this. Scroll down, copy this link and again paste here. Now I want one more. Here for logout, let's see for logout, do we have any icon? So I will search for logout. Now I have something like this. Okay, now you can take any icon here for logout. Box arrow left, box arrow right. So I will take this. Let me take that outside wala, this part. Copy this. Go back here and let's add here. Now see 3 icons you will be able to see on your screen. So if I refresh, here I should be able to see the 3 icons. So here if you see 3 icons are there. Now these icons I want to display here in the center. So what I will do here also I will add a class called Flex Center. So same class I am using for all the 3 sections I got here in the center. Now I will write some CSS. So I will say that in my hash icons, whatever I element is there, to that I element assign margin right 30 pixel. So if I refresh, I got 30 pixel. Now see this space looks so much, but let it be. If you want, we can change it. Font size I will increase to 27 pixel. I got like this. And now I will remove this background color so that it looks something like this. So we got here wish list and this one. And here we will change the color. So for this, I will say that in my hash icons, whatever I is there, if that I is first child, then to that first child, I want to add color as a green. Means I am saying that in my icons div, whatever I is there, if that is the first I, then make its color to green. I got green. In the same way, I will write for second I also. In my icons div, whatever I is there, if that I is second one, then here I want something like coral. So if I refresh, I got here coral. Or I will do one thing instead of coral. Can we add some other color? So which color we can add here? I will try for blue. Blue is also not looking good. I will keep it white only. So here instead of 2, I will select 3. And for 3, I will make it red. If I refresh, I got like this. So I will keep it white only. Maybe font size I can increase little bit. 37 I can make. 37 is looking very big. 29. 29 is fine. So now see, we have created one simple nav bar. And how we created simple nav bar? For that, we have created one component. Inside that component, we are writing some JSX code. Which looks exactly like HTML. But this is not HTML. We written JSX with by utilizing our HTML knowledge. And we return some CSS code. And we are able to get this UI. So we got this UI. Okay. So here we got it. Next, what we want to do, we want to create one main section. So to create that main section, now we will not write that code inside this component. We will create one separate component for main section. So for main section, we will create one separate component main section. Return, we will say one div. Now you want to create UI for footer section also. So footer section code we will not mix with main, we will not mix with navbar. Again, we will create one separate component. Function footer we will say. Return, we will use here div. So what we are doing, our entire page, you are dividing into multiple components. Like if you have like this home page you are dividing into multiple components. For navbar, you are creating one component. For your main section, you are creating another component. For footer section, you are creating one more component. So your entire user interface of home page, you are dividing into multiple components. Why? Because it will be easy to maintain. It is easy to maintain. It is easy to maintain the code. Why we are dividing our code into multiple components? Because it is easy to maintain code. Now suppose if I write everything in one function, then it will look very complex. Because if you see, just to create navbar, this much code I have written. Now main section code also if I write here, footer section code also if I write in same function, then this function will look very difficult for me. So it is not that readable for me. So what I am doing, I am separating it. So this function should contain only navbar code. If there is any issue with navbar, directly I can come to this function and I can check that issue. If there is any issue in my footer section, I can come directly here, I can check that code. But if I write everything in one place, then I have to search where is my footer code, where is my nav code, so which makes debugging difficult. So if you separate your code into multiple components, then it is easy to maintain the code, easy to write the code, easy to debug the code. It is easy to write, maintain, and debug the code. So people will ask in interviews, why you are creating this many functions? Then you can say that if I create my UI in separate functions, in separate components, then it will be very easy for me to write the code. It will be easy for me to maintain the code. It will be easy for me to debug the code. Plus, I can reuse the code if I want. If we want, we can reuse our code. If we want, we can reuse our code. Suppose this footer part you need in some other part of your application, then no need to again write the footer. You can just use this function in some other place. So reusability will become easy for us. Plus, tomorrow if someone asks you to add one more new section, then no need to disturb the existing code. You can create one separate component. In that you can write your new user interface code. So it is easy to scale the application. It is easy to scale application. Scaling means adding new UI without disturbing the current UI. Right now, I created only three sections: nav section, main section, footer section. Now, tomorrow, someone will say create one brand section. Then no need to disturb the current UI. You can create new function called brand. Someone will say create one categories section. Then no need to disturb the current code. Create one more function categories. So easily you will be able to scale your application. Easily you will be able to grow your application without disturbing the current UI. So those benefit you will get if you divide your UI into multiple components. If you want, you can write in one component also. But if you write in one component, so many problems we have to face. So to overcome those problems, we are dividing our code into multiple components. Okay. So right now I will remove this. Now in my main section, what I want like this. Suppose this is my main section. This main section I want to divide into two columns. Like this I want to create. So 30%, 70% second column. So for that, what we are going to do here, we will add one class. We will class name, we will call it as a main container. Now this main container I want to divide into two columns. So here I will select main container. I will make it display grid. I will assign some height like 500 pixel. And then I will use grid template columns. I will say first column 30%, second column 70%. Just for your understanding sake, I will add here one border. Border 4 pixel solid. I will say red. Now what I want to do, this main UI, I want to show on my screen. After the navbar, that main UI should display here. So for that, what we are going to do, how we can display that? So we have to call this main component. Where you will call, here we can call. So one way is what you can do here, you can add one array. Inside that first you can render navbar. Then you can add comma. You can render main component. This is how we can do. Here we can add one array. First render navbar, render main. So if I go and refresh, I got like this. See, here I got this red color. Let me decrease the width a little bit. Width, I will decrease to 1200 pixel. And let me add margin. Margin 0 pixel from top bottom. Auto I will add from left to right. So if I go and refresh, I got like this. See this red color. Border I will increase. Border here. 10 pixel I am saying. See how we got it. Okay. So now let's keep border as a 4 pixel only. Let's remove width and margin. So if I refresh, it looks like this. Now two columns are created. Now in first column, I will add one div. In second column, I will add another div. To this div, I will assign a class called. So here we have to make it class name. Aside section. Here I will add one class name and I will say here right section. Or you can make it left section also, just to keep it simple. Left section, right section. Let's add some CSS in left section. Let's add background color for temporary purpose, black. And if I go back here and if I refresh, I got like this. I got here like this. Now here, if I want, I can make it 20%, I can make it 80% also. So now it looks like this. Now inside this black, here also I want some links. I want here some links. So I will use here anchor element and I will create here 5 links. Right now I am creating 5 or I will create 7. And here I will add all. Then I will add here electronics. Here I am adding something like jewelry. Here I will add men's. Here women's. Here kids. Here cosmetics. So I'm just adding some links in my left section. So if I go back here and if I refresh, it looks like this. So everything is coming in one line, see? So I want they should display one after another. So for that, what I will do, this left section is there, right? I will make it as a display flex. And flex direction, I will keep it as a column. So if I go and if I refresh, it will be like this. And here, for left section, align items, I will say center, and justify content, I will say space evenly. So I'm just writing some CSS properties. So if I refresh, it looks like this. Now here I will use my left section in that whatever anchor element is there, its color, I will make it white. And font size, I will increase to 21 pixel. Text decoration, I will make it none. So if I go and refresh, it looks like this. It looks something like this. So I'm just creating one static UI, some UI. Now let's remove this border red. We don't want. It will be like this. Now here you can add any other background color. So instead of black, I can add something else. I can add gray also. If I add gray, it looks like this. Or maybe here I can add something like light green. If I add, I got like this. Or anything else we can add here. Light blue I will add. I got like this. So whatever you want, you can add. Or else if you don't want to add anything, you can skip. You can make it box shadow 0, 10 pixel black. And here text color, we can keep it black only. Or maybe I can make it green. I got like this. So whatever UI you want, you can create it. Now here I want some UI. Here also I want some UI. So what I will do here, inside my right section, inside this, I will create one container. I will create one container. And to that container, I will give some name. Like I will say write sub container. And this write sub container, like this I want to create. This shape I want to give. Like this I want to create. So for that, I will select this write sub container. and I will assign some box shadow 0, 0, 10 pixel red, I will say. Height, I will make it 400 pixel. Margin, 20 pixel auto, I will add. Let's see how it looks. If I refresh, I got like this. Let's reduce width. Width, I will reduce to 70%. So it looks like this. So from top, little bit more margin I will add. 40 pixel if I say, I got like this. Maybe 50 pixel if I say, I got like this. Now here, maybe I can increase the height to 430 pixel. I got like this. And here width, if I want, I can increase to 80%. I got like this. Like whatever you want, you can design. I'm just designing like this. Now, this box, inside this box, what I want to do, I want to create something like this UI. I want to create first 2 columns. And then here in the second column, I want to create like this 2 rows. So this structure I want. So what you need to do first, inside this 2 columns we have to create. Inside this we have to create 2 columns. So to create 2 columns, we have to use again display grid. And grid template columns. First column, I will say around 60% or 65% I will give. Second one, I will give 35%. So now inside this right sub container, 2 columns are created. So inside that 2 columns, I will add 2 divs here. So I will say this as a column 1 class name. I will add column 1 and here I will add class name column 2. Just to identify whether 2 columns are created, let's select this column 1 and column 2. Column 1, we will add some background color like red, and column 2, we will add some background color like green. So if I go back here and if I refresh, I got like this. Now this column 2, I want to divide into again 2 rows. So for that, I will use display grid. And here I will use a property called grid template rows. 1FR, 1FR. So what this 1FR will do, or simply I will give 50-50%. 50%, 50%. So column 2, I am dividing into 2 rows. It means in column 2, again, I have to take 2 divs. So first div will display in the first row. Second div will display in the second row. So here I will say 2, 1. Here I will call 2, 2. So right now I am just adding here one style as a background color. Here only I will add background color. Oh, okay, we cannot add like this. Inline styling will not work. So for this, we can do one thing. So I will say in my call to whatever div is there, if that div is first one. Now to that div, you add one background color called light pink. In my call to whatever div is there, if that div is second one, then you add background color like blue. Okay, now see here, if I refresh, I got like this. So here I did not get 2. Here I have made mistake, column 2. Now if I refresh, I got like this. Now what I want here, I want to display image, here image, here image. Just images we want to display. We can display some images here. Here we can display some image. Here we can display some image. Here we can display some image. So instead of background color, we can display some images here now. Now in between this, we will add some gap. So here I will add gap 20 pixel. I got like this gap. And here I will remove this box shadow. Here I got. And here also I will add gap 20 pixel. So 20 pixel is not looking good here. So let's not add the gap. Here also I will remove the gap. So I got like this. Now here we have to display some UI. So what UI we have to display, that we will see in the tomorrow session. So now see how we are able to create user interface with React. So here you need to understand the concept. So we have created one nav component. We have created one main component. We have one footer component. Now everything we are calling here. If you don't want to call here like this, you can go with one more way. Here you can create one main component called app. Inside this app, you can add one div. And inside this div, you can call your components now. You can call first nav, then you can call main, then you can call footer. And finally, this app you can call here. So no need to take array here. Simply call app. So inside the app, we are rendering this three component. So if I go and refresh, same UI I will have. There is no change in the UI. So now we have to just create one footer component. So here the point what we have to learn, how we are creating components. So for certain specific UI, we are creating one component, one component, one component, one component. Right now, this many components we are writing only in one file. In coming sessions, we will divide these components into separate file. So right now what we are doing, we created one HTML file, and in this HTML file, we are writing all the components. Component navbar, component main, component footer, component app. In coming sessions, what we are going to do, for each component, we will create separate file. For navbar component, one file. For main component, one file. For footer component, one file. And for your app component, one file. And you will have one separate HTML file. And then all these files, we will link with this file. All this we will link with this HTML file. But like this, we will not link. What we will do? This file, we will link with this one. This file, we will link with this one. This file, we will link with this one. And finally, this last file, we will link with HTML. So like this, we will create architecture. Slowly, we are going to change our mechanism. We will change our approach. But step by step. If you write everything in one file, then this file will become very burden. This file will become very heavy. So if you create like this 100 components, 1000 components, then it is very difficult for us to manage this file. So to overcome that problem, what we are going to do, we will separate our code into multiple files. And all the files we will link with each other. So in this way, slowly we will develop one application. We will develop one application. So what is application? What is application? Any application, React application or Angular application or Spring Boot application. What is application? Application is nothing but collection of files. Collection of files. Application is nothing but collection of files. What file contains? File contains programs. Collection of programs. Collection of programs. File is nothing but collection of programs. What program contains? Collection of instructions. Collection of instructions. So all are interlinked. What is application? Application is nothing but collection of files. When you create lot of files and if you link those files with each other, then that entire part we are going to call as application. What file contains? File contains programs. Every file will have program. Program is nothing but one function, one variable, like that. Class. What programs contains? They contains instructions. So right now we understood first how to create instructions. Then we written how to create programs. Now we are learning how to create files. Then we will learn how to create applications. So like this, step by step, you will learn the things. Okay. So make sure guys, you are revising your HTML and CSS concepts, because whenever you want to add styles, we have to use HTML or we have to use CSS. So make sure that you keep revising your HTML, CSS so that styling becomes easy for you. Okay. Yeah. So today we will stop here. Next part we will learn in the next session. That is tomorrow. Slowly we are entering into now advanced parts. Yeah. So that's all guys. Remaining things we will discuss in tomorrow's session.
Sir, may I audible?
Yeah, audible.
So, a question.
Yeah, sure.
Actually, I want to ask.